Are you ready to laugh? This is just a short story, but this is, ladies and gentlemen, our elected officials in Congress. All hell just broke loose at a House hearing after Sarah McBride is actually called Mr. The pronoun war. The greatest pronoun war in human history ever, period. I've been tagged in this, and look, it's funny all around. A Mr. and Mrs. or Madam is used.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. McBride, you heard that, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Oh, hits him right back with that. Hold on. We're going to rewind that. That was just only a few short seconds, but the next is pure gold.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
sorry.
could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the
Representative.
standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply.
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman?
the
Would you
standard-
repeat what you just said when
I-
you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order.
You are out of order. All of this is out of order.
Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I
We
mean,
will- we will-
I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
You
hearing.
will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
This is not a Twitter space. I will not tweet and have this happen. It's the greatest pronoun war that's all out of order. Everything's out of order. You're out of order. Mr., you're out of order. Madam, you're out of order. Sir, you're out of order. Dude, you're out of order. He is out of order. She is out of order. They is out of order. Them is out of order. I even heard there's other ones because I'll blurb. Anyways, I can't spell. Who doesn't spell? No, nobody knows how to spell anymore. Everything's out of order. So what exactly went down? What happened? First of all, here is what went down. Okay, here's what's went down. First of all, a House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee ended abruptly Tuesday after Representative Keith Self, Republican from the great state of Texas, referred to Representative Sarah McBride, Democrat from Delaware, the first transgender person elected to Congress, as Mr. Self, who chairs the subcommittee on Europe, introduced McBride as the congressman from Delaware during a hearing on arms control and U.S. assistance to Europe. McBride responded by calling Self Madam Chair. They did a back and forth jab. As McBride delivered her remarks, Ranking Member Bill Keaton, Democrat from the great state of Massachusetts, interjected, asking Self to repeat his introduction, which we all saw in that pure gold video of a breakdown. Each going back and forth. Self then adjourned the hearing. In a post on social media platform X, Self said it's a policy of the United States to recognize two sexes, male and female, referring to an executive order President Trump signed during his first hours back in office. Spokespeople for Keaton and McBride did not immediately return requests for comment. Self's intentional misgendering of McBride is not the first time the first-term lawmaker faced jabs from her Republican colleagues over her identity. On February 7th, ahead of McBride's first floor speech, Representative Mary Miller, Republican from my home state, Illinois, up to no good, introduced McBride as the gentleman from Delaware. McBride brushed off Miller's introduction. FWIW, there is an entire speech after I'm recognized by acting speaker that's worth to watch much more than a 15-second video of me being called on, she wrote on X after a video of the introduction went viral. Other House GOP members referred to McBride as a man on social media and moved to bar her from women's restrooms on Capitol grounds. In interviews and social media posts, McBride has called Republicans targeting of her and the trans community in an attempt to distract from issues like the rising cost of living. I think we are all united in attempts to attack a vulnerable community are not mean-spirited, but really attempt to misdirect, McBride told CBS News Face the Nation in a November interview. Still, McBride has signaled a willingness to work with Republicans in Congress and introduce her first bill legislation to tackle fraudulent practices in the credit repair industry, with Representative Young King, a California Republican. Young Kim, a California Republican. So a back and forth jab of identities and pronouns. So what can we take away from this? It is always a distraction to see people go back and forth with identity. It is what it is, unfortunately. But that's this is the world we are in. It's a shiny distraction. You are out of order. Everyone's out of order. You know what's not in order? Congress getting things done for the American people. Because you know what they all got in common? Was it their guys or gals or however else they want to identify themselves with? You know what I realized? A lot of them doing insider trading. You see? They could all get together because they're all friends. They're all buddies and pals.
It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Whether or not in Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel.
I don't mean to sound alarmist, but most of what they let you read is garbage. Most of it's designed to warp our minds until subconsciously you find you'll take the time to lick their boots free of grime and wipe their minds free of tarnish. Oil is the centerpiece, a body count of millions is the garnish. So how's it feel to know we funded every carcass? That every year our taxes pay for carpet bombing Gaza under shroud of darkness? Or that we spend enough a year to house and feed each homeless person in the streets on turning families in apartment buildings in the Middle East to bloody craters full of charred garments? And our media is silent at best. At worst, they can find it in themselves to call war crimes clashes and label children burned to ashes terrorists who played a stupid game and reaped the harvest. And every time we try to paint the truth, the news sends their slugs to suck off all the varnish and distort it into something harmless. See, the media will hang you by your feet and keep you half asleep. So yes, I'm here to set you free, but freedom won't be sweet because you'll fall 1,000 feet when I come cut you out your harness. They say those who dream the deepest fall the farthest. They also say that home is where the heart is. But if home for you is Gaza, Netanyahu's got you painted as a target. Perhaps it's not the impact, but it's what you see when falling that will hit the hardest. Maybe it's the sound of all those children crying out in those apartments that will hit the hardest. Maybe all those little bodies scattered in the dirt will hit the hardest. Maybe seeing human lives assigned such little worth will hit the hardest. Maybe it's the knowledge that you're paying for the darkest of atrocities committed on this earth that will hit the hardest. Maybe it's the knowledge that we give 10 million a day to oppressors who possess the kind of Medicare you'll die in debt before you see that's gonna hit the hardest. Maybe then you'll see you've always had more in common with the commoners whose slaughter we fund every day in Gaza than our senators and bosses. Maybe then you'll see our country never had a conscience. Maybe then the retroactive guilt will make you nauseous. Maybe what hits harder than the impact is the act of being conscious, of knowing your complicity and helplessness to try and stop the bloody deeds of Congress. And that no matter who's in office, America preserves its foreign interests by whatever means its greed demands, however monstrous. You see, we'll always need a place to drain our contras. And Biden's got a backup plan should harm befall the Holy Land. Wipe it off the map, he'll draw it back on with an iron hand. He demands an Israel or reasonable effigy to exercise democracy and colonize the Middle East. Regardless of the human cost of phosphorus atrocities, bought and paid with money they rerouted out the budget for the non-essential things like ever making Flint's water clean. So maybe what hits hardest is the day you see this country for its actual priorities. And nevermore no honest peace attempting sleep. Maybe then you'll look at politicians making speeches like a blood-encrusted beast espousing destiny to empty seats and fellow leeches. As the gauntlet of democracy extends its brutal reach, like a giant wave of trash come to crash on foreign beaches. Maybe build a base, throw a flag down and heavily pollute the region. Rape your ecosystems, gut your fauna and congratulate you on your new allegiance. Oops, we mean alliance. This is something mutual unless you're non-compliant. We stole something crucial on which you can be reliant. So maybe what hits hardest is the centrist saying both sides need to stop the violence. And those would be the very same centrists saying we should all accept police brutality, who hem and haw and clutch their fucking pearls and spend their time condemning riots. But very soon will come the day the centrists all get censored like the rest of us, and pious as they'll try to be, they won't stay quiet. But they'll just end up shouting in the void that they were also quick to render us subscribers. and it will be too late to light the fires. So far away tonight, there burn the spires of a region set ablaze for which you've paid for every pyre. Which is why your checks weren't all $600 higher. Call it foreign interests or American desires. This is why your checks weren't all $600 higher. Far away tonight, there burn the spires of a region set ablaze for which you've paid for every pyre. Call it foreign interests or American desires. This is why your checks weren't all $600